Diddy is way worse than we all thought he was, in my opinion. I knew he was a lot, but watching that documentary solidified a lot more things for me. And it made me realize some things I'd never even thought about, like when it comes to alleged involvement with Tupac and Biggie's unaliving, right? So I want to talk about quite a lot of things about the documentary, but I ask that you please hit that like button, hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. I do commentary on reality TV shows, celebrity news, and pop culture in general. So make sure you tap that notification so you know every single time that I post or go live. Thank you so much. So, how many people have actually watched The Reckoning? So, the Netflix documentary produced by 50 Cent about Diddy. Let me know if you guys have watched it. How did you feel about it? Let me know. What would you rate it? Let me know. Now, my initial reaction first thing is Didi is a brutal businessman. I feel like you can tell that he has crazy drive. It's very interesting how he was so strategic to place himself in certain positions. Like, I was fascinated by the idea that he went above and beyond just to show his value. Like, there was a point where they talked about him running. They told him to like run an errand. This man ran to the place and came back very quickly, ran there and ran back. Let's be clear, most people would never do that. So, of course, you're not going to stand out in the midst of other hardworking people. But if you are somebody who goes above and beyond, there is so much that I feel like we can learn from, not necessarily Diddy, but that example of going above and beyond. Now, I think we thought he was a monster, but I feel like this documentary definitely confirmed that he is a monster. Anybody who would tape another person without consent is a monster. There is no other way to slice and dice it. You have to be a very horrible person to even consider that. And one of the ladies who you can tell she was really distraught by the whole experience. It was the person whose mother wrote a letter to Didi's parents allegedly. Um, and just think about that for a second. For you to find out that something like that happened to you because people were talking about seeing a video of you that was recorded by this same person and was being shown to people. Nothing is as humiliating, as upsetting as that. Just think about it. It was a very intimate moment, and to find out that he allegedly essayed her and then recorded it is crazy business to me. Absolutely disgusting behavior, absolutely huge, monstrous behavior. I think the other thing I noticed was it felt like Didi has gotten away with so many things over the years. I never knew he was arrested as many times as he was arrested. I never knew he had close brush-ins with the law in the past. I did not know all of this. So it was very interesting to actually get to know that perspective, to find out that he's had so many run-ins with the law. Enough for us to start thinking, are you doing some shady things? Also, how are you able to get out of every single one of these things, including this new one, right? I know technically people may say, well, he didn't get out of it and all of that. He's still serving some time, but the serious things, he got out of it scot free. That's just the reality of the situation. I do feel that the jurors, in my opinion, failed. I failed to do what they should have done, in my opinion. But it's of course their decision. I do feel like they were enamored with Didi and who Didi is, the charisma of it all, being in front of a celebrity. If you look at the two jurors who were in the documentary on the last episode who were talking about Diddy and the trial and all of that, you can tell they were saying it with smiles, or the way they were saying it. One in particular was saying it with smiles, the other one, you could tell that they did not understand the nuances. They felt like, well, Cassie kept coming back. I'm like, that is what happens in a lot of abusive relationships. I've hardly ever seen situations where a woman stays after being in physically abusive situations. Most times that never happens. They never leave immediately. Most times. I say that because of course there are some people that who actually leave straight away. But most people don't. And the reason most people don't is because most relationships like that don't start off being abusive. There's usually some honeymoon period where it seemed like there was love there was fun, it was joyful, you know, there was barely any conflict. And so when something gets out of hand, it's very easy to think, well, maybe things just escalated. This is not who this person is. He's never put his hands on me. He just got really angry this time. What could I have done differently? And so that's what usually happens. The other thing that people need to realize when it comes to DV, any sort of DV, is nuances. It usually doesn't start out like that. And even when it starts out like that, hardly ever, but even when there's instances of physical assault or whatever, most times it started off with verbal. It started off with verbal conversations, verbal altercations, which then escalated. It's like usually these abusers, right? I don't want to say the word because of YouTube. Most of these people, it's a journey. Okay. It doesn't start off immediately as that. It starts off a little bit here, a little bit of control, which can be misinterpreted as passion. You think, oh, he loves me. He is so passionate. He doesn't like seeing another man around me. He really cares. He doesn't want me, he wants me to hang out with him all of the time. He doesn't want me to always be with my friends. He just wants to spend time with me. Instead of you thinking, wait, he's isolating you. He doesn't want you to have friends, because when you have friends, then you have more of a better chance of leaving the situation, because most of your friends would be loving on you. And then you think, wait, why is my man not loving on me the way my friends are loving on me? Maybe I need to get out. So that is why these people want to leave you isolated. They want to leave you dependent on them financially. They also try to get you at a stage where things are very, very fresh for you, which means you're very young, you've not experienced life a lot. And then they do something which is like they dangle a carrot in front of you. Think about it as dangling a carrot in front, or dangling a banana in front of a monkey. They usually say monkeys like bananas, right? So let's say, for instance, in Cassie's situation, this is my example. I can use Cassie's situation. This is my perception of Cassie's situation. In Cassie's situation, Cassie started talking or dealing with Diddy at 19, right? At 19, you're very impressionable. You have one good song out. You have this producer who is hot. And people are saying, when I say hot, I don't mean visually. I'm saying like he's hot in these streets. Like people are talking about how he's made different people famous, all that kind of stuff. You're thinking, this is what he can do for me. So then if he tells you, okay, let's sign a 10 album deal with you, you're thinking, wow, he is really serious about me. He likes me. He wants to make sure I'm good. He has my best interest at heart. It is so easy to get into an arrangement when all you got to do is dangle the carrots, right? And you enjoy, of course, access to him, but that doesn't mean that that is why you are staying. So when one of the jurors was sort of explaining and said, well, it seemed like, yes, they had a very interesting relationship. 1 minute they have a fight like that, and then the next minute they're all lovey-dovey. I'm like, yes, that is the exact example of an abusive relationship. 1 minute it is good, the next minute it is bad. The next minute there is someone making up or trying to make up for the abuse that they have caused. And so when you think about it like that, I just think that the jurors were so black and white and we're not thinking nuances. Just because you feel like she had access to money and financial advantage doesn't mean that that is why she was staying or she was cool with what was happening to her. This is someone that she cared about. This is someone she had known since she was 19. It's like, think about it. The longer you are with someone, the harder it is to want to leave them. A lot of people will tell you how they struggle to leave people that they've been, because they kept thinking, oh, I've wasted 5 years here. I have to keep trying. Maybe one day it will change. So I just feel like there were no nuances. Jurors did not understand the nuances. And I don't think prosecution tried to move and impress that upon them enough, in my opinion. The other thing I thought was interesting was you can tell that Diddy is a control freak. Diddy wants to have control of everybody, his surroundings, everyone around him. He's also very egotistical, in my opinion. It very much gives, it is my way. I want what you have, right? Because that boosts my ego. Think about it. He loves the forbidden fruit. He loves girls that are with other people. Girls, like for instance, he had a baby, if I'm not mistaken, with Tupac's, so with someone that Tupac has dated in the past. He dated Kim. Kim was dating I think it's LB, if I'm not mistaken. Um Even Missa, right? All of these people, even Cassie, all of these people were in relationships before they met this man. Yet, he has a way of going after other people's girls. Even 50 Cent, right? And I think it's in a way, it's in a bid to boost his ego. It's a bit to be like, yeah, I got your girl. I got your girl. Because I don't understand why there's so many instances of him doing that. Why do you like to date the people that your nemesis have dated before? And it's given like, leave him, I can treat you better. And it's just a very interesting power play to be doing that on a consistent basis. I also think there has been a lot of information that I don't think that we were necessarily aware of when it, well, I can say I wasn't necessarily aware of. Some of you guys may know. Um, but I wasn't really aware of. I know I'd heard alleged rumors about Diddy and Tupac and Biggie, but there is a lot of circumstantial evidence in terms of time, place, conversations that sound very, very tricky and makes it seem that Diddy was involved in those situations. I think that that is very, very interesting because it also lets you know the psychology of this man. If truly he did all of those things and got away with it, then why are we surprised that he figured that he was going to get away with this as well? Because think about it, even when he was arrested, after they already knew, they were investigating, everything was aware of, he still had the baby oils and it was still allegedly still doing freak offs. So it's like, if you're doing all of that, you definitely know. that you anything can happen, you may or may not be arrested at any point, but yet you couldn't curb your appetite for the sake of that. That gives someone that is has a god complex. He feels like he's always going to get away with it. And I can understand why he feels that way, because pattern has shown that he has always gotten away with these things. All I kept thinking about whilst I watched the documentary is how many times he had gotten away with alleged cases. There was the alleged shooting in the club. There was the Biggie Tupac thing. There was the trampling on people, as in the trample that happened at an event. There's been so many different incidences, or incidents rather. And that then makes you think there's been so many incidents. And if in all of those incidents you've successfully been able to get around it and get away from that, I'm not surprised that you think that you are able to get away from these things. And I thought it was crazy when this man made a comment that was almost given he was comparing himself to Jesus. And I was like, who do you think you are? To get to the point where you're making a comparison of yourself to Jesus? Like, dude, you are far removed from earth. Mentally, you are definitely in a very weird, completely crazy, weird space, in my opinion. And so I think that for me, I found that very, very odd. I definitely found that very, very odd. To me, it was just a little bit like, what are we doing, sir? Who do you think you are? Who do you think you are? And I also noticed that there was a mixture of, for a lot of people, it was like people appreciated his drive, how driven he was, when it comes to strategy as well. He can listen to a beat and basically know, like, oh, okay, this is likely to be a hit, right? In terms of him having musical talents himself, I guess that is to be debated, right? From the documentary, he came across as someone that does not have musical talent, right? But he knows how to find musical talent, which itself is a talent. I know that people have talked about like him being talentless, all of that. Fair enough. But I would say he may not have the talent, but he has skills, or he has strategy. Let me use strategy as the word. He has strategy. And that's what has placed him, above a lot of other people and has gotten him to where he has gotten today. However, he is a monster. Yes, we can pick out that little tidbit of like good thing, but he is a monster. And it sounds like he's a monster that was created by his childhood and life experiences. And also the fact that he's always managed to get out of certain situations. Let's say, for instance, one of the earlier days in one of the previous like arrest or cases or whatever, let's assume that he had gotten arrested on one of those occasions. Maybe that would have recalibrated his brain to think, do you know what? I'm not invincible. I may actually get caught. I need to do things, I need to be on the up and up and up and up. However, when someone gets away with things constantly, it does something to a man where you feel like no one can touch me, I'm untouchable. What are you going to do to me? Think about Capricorn Clark, I believe. Capricorn Clark said when she met him, I think day one of the job or whatever, he took her to a park. When he found out she knew Sarge Knight, and apparently she was saying that he said he's going to have to, you know, unalive her or something like that, something along those lines, allegedly. And so I feel like that's crazy. But what's even more crazy is how it felt like everyone just knew that he was untouchable. And so no one really wanted to go up against him. And you think about his previous business partner, the one that allegedly had 25%, right? And Diddy made him sign off his shares pretty much by threat of force, right? If you think about that guy in particular, I feel so bad for him. I think he's one of the people that I feel the most for because he grew up with this person. This person was allegedly his childhood friend. You tend to have a deep love appreciation for your childhood friend, right? Because you feel like, yeah, he ain't gonna do me dirty. This person has my back. But then to find out that in reality, this person does not have your back. This person only cares about money and moving forward in life. They don't care who they hurt. They don't care if it's you or anyone else. They do not care. And so when you think about it in that way, you just think, wow, he definitely, it was so sad that with everything he filed at the time, he still wasn't able to he still wasn't able to pursue it legally, right? And life change for him was even talking about being homeless allegedly. Like, imagine what that man had to deal with as a result of that. Even think about the other victims with when it comes to like SA victims allegedly, all of the things like Lil Rod's story. And think about all of the things Lil Rod did allegedly and still didn't get paid. Do you know how crazy that is? And this is the thing, this goes back to feeling untouchable because why would you not pay this man? Think about how these footage may have allegedly been obtained. Word on the street is they were obtained because Diddy had a cameraman following him and refused to pay what he was meant to pay, allegedly. If that's to be believed, then he has a history of not paying people. And then not paying people ends up coming to bite him in the A. And even if you listen to the voice note that Lil Rod alleges that was sent to him by Diddy, the voice note did not sound like something that Diddy should be saying to his staff. Like, this man worked for you. Why would you think it is appropriate to be saying that? And I thought it was interesting that these people were moving like untouchable, like gang gang. If what Lil Rod said is to be believed about how he heard two shots, next thing, Diddy's son Justin and Diddy left the room. And then he walked in there, saw someone bleeding out, allegedly. That is some crazy business. It's like these people are just doing whatever they want casually in these streets. Just casually, just powing people, doing whatever they feel like doing. And still, you're not paying your help, your staff. That's crazy business. I bet with the documentary clips, Diddy is probably thinking like, yo, I should have paid these people. If I'd known I should have paid these people, I would not be in this situation today. He has no one to blame but himself. Altogether, I would say it's very, very sad. I think the documentary was very well done. I think 50 Cent, I don't like to watch documentaries in general, but I would say it was a good documentary to watch. I think 50 did his big one. I liked that 50 did not include his baby mama in the video, because I think that it would have then made it seem like a personal beef or personal attack. So I did appreciate that he kept that story out. I think that even without including her, there was enough of a story to still keep it full and interesting, right? So I put my hand up for that. Um Also, just saw this update, and I want to make sure I clarify that because I had previously, at the start of this, talked about how allegedly the footage was obtained because it was something wasn't paid. Okay, so Neighborhood Talk is saying Diddy's videographer explains Netflix obtained exclusive footage of the mogul from a freelancer who covered for him for 3 days. The incident had nothing to do with any fee dispute or contract issue. So they're clearing that up. This is their side. I guess it's now up to us to decide who we believe. But they are at least saying that that is where things stand. Now, I do also want to see and check some updates from 50 Cent because you all know 50 Cent is always doing something on the YouTube streets. Oh, so I don't know if you guys know, but 50 Cent and Marlon have been going at it. And so let's see if there is any update on this. Let's see. I did see something that was interesting, but I'm going to let you read this because I don't want any issues. Did you get this? Apparently, yeah. Apparently, Eminem's rap called it a long time ago and we did not even know it. We were just out here just chilling and listening to stuff, but we missed it. But he was out here just telling us in advance. But interesting stuff. Now, if we fast forward to this person, um okay, so this is about Jarul, so I'm not going to play that since we're talking about Marlon. So here's what 50 posted about him.
Those aren't the type of parties that I go to.
So he tried to say these were not the type of parties that he goes to, and then guess what? There's a clip of him in a party allegedly.
I don't frequent those type of parties, and even if I go, like I said, been doing Diddy parties.
Then he says, and if I go, I've been doing Diddy parties, and then see a tweet in 2009. 50's team are on it like white on rice. Do you hear me? Been doing Diddy parties for 15 years, and I must say, you never let me down, Puff. Ain't no party like a Diddy party. Good times, people. Wow. So, dude, it's giving you were there at the party, hun. And is that why you had so much smoke for 50 Cent doing the documentary?
Parties for 15 years, and I must say, you never let me down, Puff. Ain't no party like a Diddy party. Good times, people. I've never seen any of this. I'm like, when I hear about it, when did that happen?
Okay. So he's like, he ain't never seen tits. He ain't never seen nothing. But 50, I guess 50 is like, 50 is out here trolling, honey. 50 is out here trolling. So 50 then uses this clip. Oh my God. This is the thing with 50, man. You all can play with 50 if you want to, but once 50 has your time, he gonna have your time forever. Forever. Let's fast forward. So he posted this about Marlon. Let's see. Oh gosh. Oh gosh. Says no AI, that's your vibe, boy. Keep my name out of your mouth. 50 says Diddy got this fool trying to get at me. LOL. No AI, that's your vibe, boy. Keep my name out of your mouth. Oh my gosh. Oh no. Let me see if there's any other updates. What is this, honey? Kifi D getting at Diddy for allegedly not paying up for the Tupac hit. What? I never saw nothing like this before. So Kifi is waiting to go on trial for this. What the hell? What the hell is going on?
Is Gene Deal complaining about you? I'm complaining about you. You ain't heard one of my homies from 30s I heard he get every quarter he get